Hey listeners, welcome to today's episode of Show Me Your Hustle. And today I am sitting down with Ellie, and I am so excited to hear your story and just hear what you're up to. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, first, thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here. And as I just told you before we started the conversation, I did some research on the podcast and I've already got some value and started implementing some of the recommendations from other people that have been on the podcast. So that's super amazing. About me, I'm from Bulgaria. I've been living in the UK for the last 15 years. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have started numerous businesses over the years, and there was a point when I had 5 businesses.
Wow.
Now I realize that focus is key, and having all the eggs in one basket actually is not all that bad. And it only means that it would allow me to have all my focus, effort, attention, and resources into a single thing. And at times, that is a better way to forward. That's what I notice. So now I'm an owner of a HubSpot agency, and we help people make the most of the system.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. Let's jump in. Serial founder, lots of businesses. How did you get there?
I think it's just a natural thing because I'm very gregarious as a person, and I love exploring things. I love troubleshooting, and even with my current role, I have called myself Chief Problem Solver. So that's my job title because I love figuring things out. There's something like an adrenaline kick for me there, and I love making things work. And one of the businesses that I've had actually in the past is for vision enhancers, the other one for carpets. And my parents were thinking, what do you even know about those things?
Right.
I said, I don't. But actually, I know about business. And of course, whilst there's nuances, a lot of it is make customers happy, make sure you know your numbers, and rinse and repeat, keep testing. So a lot of it is that the principles are there. Of course, how to approach it could be completely different. But yeah, so I just fell naturally into it because I started a mini business when I was 12 or 13, and it was back in the days to do reinstallation of Windows. So I've been techie all my life, and then people were like, oh, you do computers, so my computer got stuck, could you reinstall Windows? Yeah, so that's how we know.
I love that. Okay. So you were doing all these businesses, and then how did you decide which one to go forward with as you've now put your eggs all in one basket?
I found I like variety. That's the first thing. I think that HubSpot is a platform that gives me that variety because basically I could have 3 clients that I'm working on that do completely different things, and then even though it's still HubSpot or even though it's still workflows, it's different thought process. So the market share is there. So also let's not only be dreamers in terms of, I aspire to be whatever. The money is there. There is enough for everyone and they keep growing. So it's just a great opportunity to have a piece of the pie while solving real problems for real businesses.
Right. What has been, I feel like HubSpot has changed a lot. Like you were sharing, they've been like, pick a niche, don't pick a niche, grab everyone, lots of changes. How have you navigated that as a partner?
In all honesty, I have aimed to focus on delivering great service for our clients. And because one of the things that is a common denominator for a lot of clients, especially those that haven't worked with a partner, is that even if they have their system optimized, it's not as optimized as they can. So there is still a big market for people doing foundational work. And this is where we help do the foundational work, make sure that we can walk before we can run. And then it's just the exciting stuff. So it's helping clients realign their goals in terms of, okay, so well and good, they want this automation, but your data is not right. So what can you do about that? A few years back, I wrote a book. It's called Marketing Matters in Business and in Life. And it talks about the 7P of marketing, because, traditionally it's the 4P of marketing and so on. But in my book, I talk about the 7 one. And the first one is purpose. So I always start with, okay, what it is that you want. but not what it
Right.
is that you think that you want, but what it is that you want. Because very easily people say, for example, I want to be number one in Google for this search term. I say, okay, but if you are and you don't have inquiries or you don't have more sales, would you be happy? Or no. Oh,
Yeah.
so you can put a target for me that I can reach and you still not be happy. So let's talk about what it is you really want, and then let us help you navigate how you get there.
Right. Um, what has been like the biggest learning with that?
That many people go with what other people have done. They don't know their numbers, as in many businesses, they don't know their numbers. They have an idea of where they want to go, but they've never paid close enough attention as to how they get there. There's a lot of businesses still that do certain activities because they think that they need to be done, even though that there could be a shorter route to market.
I'm thinking on that. Yeah. Has that been a big struggle in your business, or have you been able to navigate like go to market around that?
I think that we have, because now with this latest company, and the only one at the moment, that's called Uspeh. And Uspeh is the Bulgarian word for success, by the way. So with Uspeh, I
Okay.
wanted to have a very lean business, because you
Right.
can very easily add more people to the business. But there's a lot of technology that could be utilized, and like super obviously, that could help to replicate something. There's a lot of automation that could help us streamline the process, because I'd like to make the most of some resources, be it
Yeah.
human resources or tools,
Right.
and then to say that, okay, well, we've maximized that, let's jump on to the next thing. Otherwise, the easiest thing is just to be distracted by another shiny object, and then not to be able to utilize it. Next thing you know, when you draw the line a month later, your tech stack is £1,200 and you're
Right.
actually using 10% of that.
Right. Right. With that, yeah, we talk a lot about that at Supered as well, just in general with staying lean, and hiring is definitely not a two-way door. So you want to be very careful on that. And with AI in general, it's like what maybe copywriting skills and some of those roles. It's like, can I hold out a little bit longer and things like that. As a founder, what do you believe your biggest risk has been?
Finding the right
Sorry.
people.
Yeah, the people side is always what I hear
Yeah.
from founders is like, I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it is going to be.
Yeah, because you don't know sometimes, as in the person, even if they have the resume, you don't know them necessarily, which
Yeah.
means that you put your faith in them, and even if they're good with the technology, culture wise they
Yeah.
might not be a good fit. And
Yeah.
then it's just this balancing act of, do I get rid of someone who is the rotten apple in terms of culture, or do I keep them because they have some sort of skills that actually you can have the return on investment and is tangible.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Those are the tough, hard conversations that probably keep founders up at night more than what my tech stack and go to market looks like. So,
Exactly.
on the flip side though, what's your favorite part? The easy part?
Again, to me, the easy part is the troubleshooting, the figuring things out, finding the solution, having the solution architecture, seeing how it could happen. And
Yeah.
I love it when things are convoluted, because I love thinking and I love
Right.
trying to figure out how it's going to be. And now I'm leveraging AI in many different ways to allow myself to ask better questions, because I also believe that having the right question is actually better than having the right answer.
Right. Right. When you, with questions, and have you learned how to ask those questions and know where to start?
Yes, I've done a lot of personal development, and there are a couple of people in the personal development arena, like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and all sorts. And they talk about the 5 whys. And actually, they sometimes refer to it as the 7 whys. So the question, the way to decide on the question is that you have a statement. Let's say I don't know how to break through the 100K revenue target.
Right.
And then you say, okay, but why is it important? And then you have the answer. And then you build on, with the next question, you build on the answer. And then by the end of it, very often it turns out that it's not the 100K. It's just, let's say you don't feel worthy of having more than 100K.
Right.
Which means that it's not even the tech stack that was wrong in the first place. It's not the product offering. You as a founder didn't feel confident that you deserve this. And therefore, is it having the right question would have been, okay, why don't I deserve it? And to get that sorted, because otherwise you spend all that time, resources, and so on improving your ROI, but there is this psychological barrier that keeps stopping you. So if you look at the wrong place, you're gonna go further, but you're not gonna go further in the right direction.
Right. What has been the absolute biggest learning moment for you as a founder in your, like, if there's one thing you can point to in your career?
I would probably say learn to surrender as well as everything else. Because very often we try to control, and obviously if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So it's all about measurement, looking at the metrics on a regular basis. Is there improvement? But there comes a point, and there's certain elements that you just need to surrender and understand that you can't control the economy. You can't control many other things, whether there's going to be Brexit, no Brexit, whether Trump, no Trump. You can't control a lot of things. And you just decide that, okay, well, I'll make the most of what I have. I would be kind. I would focus on my customers. I would focus on how to get better than yesterday, and then just take it from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm thinking on that. I really like that. I've not heard that from any other founder. Like, most are like, it's more the tech, but I agree with you. I'm like, at some point you have to surrender control and be able to just roll with it. So I like that. Is there any advice you would give an early founder who's just starting out?
Make sure that you have your heart in what you're doing, because it's not going to be easy, and you need to enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Okay, my last question is, what's your dog's name?
Cora.
Cora. Oh,
Yes.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. This was really great and so fun to hear your story and some really great tips and advice here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, Ashley. It was lovely to be on the show, and yes, Cora as well.
I love it.